First is the prayers by Sutta Goswami and appreciation of the questions which are asked by the sages. Now Sutta Goswami answers the first two questions with this shloka number 7 and 8, 6 and 7. So first is Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Radokshya Haitukiya Pratyata Yatma Suprasidate and Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janatya Suvairagyam Jnanam Chadahitam. We will just summarize and then we will recite the shlokas. Then to prove this, then he takes the next verses from 8 to 14. 8 to 14 basically is trying to establish these two verses. So, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma. Paro Dharma is Bhakti only. So, and what is not Bhakti for? Bhakti, if you are doing, Dharma, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma. Dharma is for what? Dharma is for Bhakti only. So, Dharma Swanishtha Pumsam Vishwaksena. It should only develop taste for Krishna Katha. If not, then what is it? Shramayeva Kevalam. So, this is the first point. Dharma, if you are not getting taste, you are wasting your time. And second thing, what it says is, Dharma, it is, if it is not for Apavarga, Papa Bhavama, Pa is Parishram, Fa is Phala. You get the result out of that work. And because you get the result, you get Papa Bha is Bandhan. Because you are attached, you are getting result, you become attached. And attachment leads to what? Attachment leads to Bhaya, fear. And the last one is Mrityu. So when you work, you get result, you get attached, you get fear, and then there is Mrityu, like that. So Dharma is not for this. Dharma is for Apavarga only. Nartha is Jaikarmi. Narthasya Dharma Ekantasya Kamalabha is Prataha. It should not be performed for material gain. And now, okay, Dharma is not for this, but Dharma, then you get some benefit, na? You get some enjoyment when you perform some activity. But yes, but Kamasya na Indriya Priti. It's not just direct for sense gratification. Then how? Just Labho Jivete Yavata. Whatever is basic minimum for our maintenance, that much only we have to do. How can I maintain myself? Yes, you need some work, some dharma you need to perform to maintain yourself. Do that much only. Don't waste time more. And Jivasya Tattva Jignasa. So whatever human life is meant, it is meant for Tattva Jignasa. And what is the Tattva? That is the next shloka. Vadanti Tattvavidas Tattvamed Jnanodvayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavanisha. So that is what is Tattva. Tattva is basically what we need to understand. So the life goal should be understanding that Tattva. Not for sense gratification. Dharma, if you are not getting taste for hearing Krishna Katha, it is waste. Dharma is only for Apavarga and it is not for sense gratification, but Tattva. And what is this Tattva? Tattva is understood at three levels. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti Shakti. And then Tat Shraddhadanayo Muniya, Jnana Vairagyukta, Pashyanti Atmani Chatmanam Bhakta Shruta Girhiteya. So we realize by devotional service, this can be realized by inquisitive students as well equipped, realize the absolute truth by rendering devotional service. How? What we heard from Vedanta Sutra, like that. We had to, by bhakti, we can realize this. This is the next shloka. So this basically, this section till 14 shloka, it tells Atha Pumbya Dvaja Shrestha Varnashrama Vigasha. So what is the Dharma? Varnashrama, anything is there? It is for what? Samsiddhir Haritoshnam. From bhakti only. So if you see from the shloka number 8 onwards, it is explaining the same thing. Dharma is for able to hear holy name. Dharma is not Apavarga. Dharma is for Apavarga. Dharma is for understanding this Tattva. And what is that Tattva? Brahmeti Paramatma Bhagavaniti. How can you realize? By rendering devotional service. And any activity you are doing, Varnashram, anything, it is for Haritoshnam only. It is clear in all ways, not sense gratification, to get out of this material world, to understand the absolute truth. Therefore, tasma, therefore, ekena manasa, with one pointed attention, Bhagavan Sattvatam Pati, Shrotavyah Kirtitavyasya Dheya Pujasya Nityada. With one pointed attention, perform, worship, glorify, remember Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the conclusion. So he established the thesis was 6th and 7th verses, and all this is explanation for that. What is not. Now how to do it. So this is not, other things should not be done. Only this should be done. Only bhakti. He proved it. And after that, how to achieve it, that is from 16th to 21st. And so now we'll just recite these shlokas, which are very important. We'll just learn these shlokas by heart. We'll start from verse number 6. We'll do three times. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktiradokshje ahaitukya pratyata yayatma suprasidati. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktiradokshje ahaitukya pratyata yayatma suprasidati. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktiradokshje ahaitukya pratyata yayatma suprasidati. वासुदेवे भगवती भक्तियोगप्रयोजितः जनयत्यासु वैराग्यं ज्ञानं च गहैतुकम् वासुदेवे भगवती भक्तियोगप्रयोजितः जनयत्यासु वैराग्यं ज्ञानं च गहैतुकम् धर्मस्वनिष्ठितः पुंसां विश्वक्सेन कथासु यः नोत्पादयेदिरतिं क्षम एव हि केवलम् धर्मस्वनिष्ठितः पुंसां विश्वक्सेन कथासु यः नोत्पादयेदिरतिं क्षम एव हि केवलम् धर्मस्वनिष्ठितः पुंसां विश्वक्सेन कथासु यः नोत्पादयेदिरतिं क्षम एव हि केवलम् धर्मस्य हि अपवर्गस्य नार्तो अकायोपकल्पते नार्तस्य धर्मैकान्तस्य कामो लाभा हि स्मृतः धर्मस्य हि अपवर्गस्य नार्तो अकायोपकल्पते नार्तस्य धर्मैकान्तस्य कामो लाभा हि स्मृतः धर्मस्य हि अपवर्गस्य नार्तोरकायोपकल्पते नार्तस्य धर्मैकान्तस्य कामो लाभा हि स्मृतः कामस्य न इन्द्रियैर्प्रीति लाभो जीवेत यावता जीवस्य तत्त्वजिज्ञासा नार्तो यः चेह कर्मभिः कामस्य न इन्द्रियैर्प्रीतिर्लाभो जीवेत यावता जीवस्य तत्त्वजिज्ञासा नार्तो यः चेह कर्मभिः कामस्य न इन्द्रियैर्प्रीतिर्लाभो जीवेत यावता जीवस्य तत्त्वजिज्ञासा नार्तो यः चेह कर्मभिः वदन्ति तत्तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यज्ञानमद्वयं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवानिति शब्दते वदन्ति तत्तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यज्ञानमद्वयं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवानिति शब्दते वदन्ति तत्तत्त्वविदस्तत्त्वं यज्ञानमद्वयं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवानिति शब्दते. We will read the purport here. This will continue from here. Who already knows the shlokas, they can try to work on the meaning so that it will be easy for them. Who don't know, they can hear, they can learn the shloka, because when I am reciting, it is a repetition for them. They already know the shloka. No problem. You can work on the meaning and try to contemplate on it. We'll go to the purport. So the translation for this shloka is the learned transcendental. So we have understood life goal is to understand the absolute truth. And what is that absolute truth? Absolute truth is understood in three forms: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. All three features are absolute truth only. It is not that Brahman is not absolute truth. Brahman is also absolute truth, Paramatma. These are all features of the absolute truth. And Prabhupada, the absolute truth is both subject and object. And there is no qualitative difference there. Therefore, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are qualitatively one and the same. The same subject is realized as impersonal Brahman by the students of the Upanishads, as localized Paramatma by the Hiranyagarbhas or the yogis, and Bhagavan by the devotees. In other words, Bhagavan, or the personality of Godhead, is the last word of the absolute truth. Paramatma is a partial representation of the personality of Godhead, and the impersonal Brahman is the glowing effulgence of the personality of Godhead, as the sun rays are to the sun god. Less intelligent students of either of the above schools sometimes argue in favor of their own respective realization. But those who are perfect seers of the absolute truth know well that the above three features of the one absolute are different perspectives, views seen from different angle of vision. So all three are absolute truth only. Is the uh, subject and object both. It is the absolute truth. It is uh, it's subjectively and objectively. Means uh, if you say absolute truth, it can have many parts, and if you say absolute truth, it can be one thing also. So absolute truth is Brahman, absolute truth is Bhagavan, absolute truth is Paramatma, and absolute truth can be all three: Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan, in that way. So it is subject also, object also. And for us, we should be very clear. If somebody says Lord is impersonal, we should say yes, he's impersonal. If we say is Paramatma in everybody's heart, we should say yes, is Paramatma in everybody's heart, because it is subjectively also right, right? Sorry, objectively also it is right only. What they are telling is not wrong. Only thing is they are seeing from one angle of vision. That's why they are seeing from one angle of vision. They are looking from this direction. They are looking. Is looking like a Paramatma. It is right. Is somebody is looking from another angle? It is looking at Brahman. Yeah. So Lord, the absolute truth is revealed like that. So we should not condemn anything. That's what Prabhupada is telling. It is explained in the first sloka of the first chapter of Bhagavatam. The supreme truth is self-sufficient, cognizant, and free from the illusion of reality. In the relative world, the knower is different from the known. But in the absolute truth, both the knower and the known are one and the same thing. The relative world, the knower is a living spirit or a superior energy, whereas the known is inert matter or inferior energy. Therefore, there is a duality of inferiority and superiority. Whereas in the absolute realm, both the knower and the known are of the same superior energy. Therefore, there are three kinds of energies of the supreme energetic. There is no difference between the energy and energetic, but there is a difference of quality of energies. The absolute realm and the living entity are of the same superior energy, but the material world is inferior energy. The living being in contact with the inferior energy is illusion, thinking he belonged to the inferior energy. Therefore, there is the sense of relativity in the material world. In the absolute, there is no such sense of difference between the knower and the known. Therefore, everything there is absolute. In the spiritual world, living entities are part of absolute. There is no difference between devotee and the Lord in one sense, because they are also the part of Lord. It is also part of absolute. Here it is we separate ourselves. That's why there is a distinction. Uh, that is what is mentioned here. This is the material world is after causal ocean. There is a cause and effect here. But in spiritual world is causeless. That's why it is all absolute. It is completely. It's that is the final perfect. And here there is cause and effect. That's why it is a relative world. If you say somebody is beautiful here, beautiful means what? It is you are comparing that person with that form with another form. That's why it is beautiful. Like if you have uh, mango and apple, you say this is very sweet. Sweet in terms of what? You are comparing with apple, that's why you are taking mango sweet. But you have some other Srikhand, then it will be more sweeter. So then it's all relative. So anything you say beautiful or ugly or I like, I don't like, it's all relative in this point. But in the spiritual world, it's not like that. You say something, it's all absolute. That is the perfection of it. There can be nothing beyond it. It's difficult for us to understand at our level, but we should know that there is something called completely perfect, which is absolute. There is nothing beyond. Yes.
Says, you know, for all my life, this word absolute continues to be, very abstract for me. Even when you used it just now, when you said that certain things are relative, we call them relative because, they are only that descriptive when compared to something else. But when it comes to the spiritual realm, there is no such thing as comparison. We say that they're absolute. So, yeah, the use of this term absolute is so vague for me somehow.
I'll be able to understand only that much. Because for me, what I understand is there is nothing relative there. Everything is perfect. Everything is perfect. That's why it is absolute. Like say this is relative. We are saying good, bad means we had comparing with something. But in spiritual, if we say good means good only. There is nothing comparison. That's what I understand. But I don't know how I can explain more than this.
Yeah. So in the spiritual world, one thing cannot be sweeter than the other thing because it's
That means it
all.
is absolute. That sweet means that is perfection in itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
Yeah,
understand.
everything. Yeah, nothing is inferior to anything else. There, everything is supreme. Actually, like that. Absolutely. Okay. One other thing is um, when you were saying about the knower, both the knower and the known. I don't know. There's a couple of things. One is you're also comparing absolute truth to cause and effect. There too, I was not clear.
There is here we have cause and effect. In the spiritual world, there is no cause and effect. If we are doing any activity here, we have some purpose. In spiritual world, there is no purpose. That's why there is no cause for any activity. It's all love. There is no cause. Here, any activity I am doing, why I am eating? Because I need to fulfill my stomach. So there is a cause behind it. So it's causeless. So that's why there is no cause. That's why there is no cause and effect. That's why it is absolute.
But we over here, cause and effect means there's cause because we're doing for a selfish purpose.
Not only selfish, it's not even to maintain our body also. We need to do we do some activity. So any activity in this metal world is done is some cause is there. But in spiritual world, it's causeless. There's no reason for anything. It's all love, and that's why it is absolute.
But even for love, that's a cause. We do something out of love. That our sense of love is the cause in the spiritual world.
But still, it is considered as absolute. Love is what a living entity is made of. So if it is on it is performed because it is made of love. That is what is the motivation. It is considered absolute only.
Okay, so when it's done out of love for Krishna, then it is considered causeless.
Yeah.
Because
spiritual world there is no transformation. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Prithviraj Bro is telling transformation happens. One cause leads to effect and so on. In the spiritual world, no transformation. Everything is perfect.
Okay, so cause and effect is associated with transformation. The transformation is that the effect comes from the cause. And in the spiritual world, there is no effect coming from a cause. Therefore, there is no transformation.
And also some things now which we may not be able to conceive at this. I mean, we will not be able to understand how something can be so perfect. Because anything we see everything relative. So logically we cannot understand. If we put logic, we'll not be able to understand spiritual world. It is beyond logic. It is also one of the achintya, sarvashriya, sarvachintya, sarvatita. This is what is absolute. So if we cannot understand by logic, It is beyond
Yeah,
our
this
concept.
is
So this is,
this is my eternal problem, trying to understand transcendental things by logic. So I don't know when this will go, this problem I have. But also the last thing is trying, you said that I think you said that the knower and the known, they are both spiritual,
they're all
something like that.
spiritual. And once you are on a spiritual platform, it's all absolute. Knower and known, no difference.
Okay, so the known part, does that includes material objects, isn't it?
No,
No.
here it is material, but in spiritual realm there is no difference like that. Because if you are telling knower and known, then it is relative. It becomes relative, but it's not like that in spiritual.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say, that the knower, when we talk about knower and known, is all spiritual is one. Knower means refers to Krishna, and known means his energies, right? Whether you're talking about marginal or external energies, it seems the spiritual energy is Krishna, and the which is the knower, and his energies, external and marginal, those are the known. No, it's not like that.
Not like that, Mataji. I will also clarify and I'll come back to you. This question we'll discuss maybe after our session.
Mm. Okay, yeah, because knower and known in this context, yeah, I'm not very clear.
We will discuss after our 9:15, after our purport reading. We'll
Oh,
discuss on this.
okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Chandrayaka Mataji.
Prabhuji, in purport, it's written the absolute truth is both subject and object, and there is no qualitative difference. But Prabhuji, Bhagwan, he has 64 qualities more than this, na? Enu Madhav, Rup Madhav. So, in that way, what does this mean?
Here, qualitative means both are spiritual in that way.
Okay, not by qualities, like 4 qualities.
It is both. It is meant. It is spiritual.
Okay, so means absolute truth, Paramatma and Bhagavan is all spiritual absolute truth. Okay, Prabhuji. And related to Mataji's question, Prabhuji, she's asking relative, so means there is no comparison in the spiritual world, na Prabhuji? It means that.
It is not. It is all absolute. Whatever is there, it's perfect.
There is no comparison that one is good because another is not good. So there is everyone is perfect in their situation, in their nature, and completely able to satisfy Krishna.
Yes, that is correct. Now there is one more. Now this is okay. We told about absolute truth and how to understand. Satchaddadanayo munayo, Satchaddadana munayo, jnana vairagya yuktaya, shanti atmani chatmana bhaktya shrita grihitaya. So the serious inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realize that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from Vedanta Sutra. Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. Shruta Grihita means bhakti with help of the Vedanta Sutra, with the help of the scriptures. So he says that Shraddha somebody is very seriously inquisitive, Munaya sages or devotees, Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayasta. Janatyasu Jnanam and Vairagyam. Both will come when you perform Bhakti. So it is not separately you need to cultivate. You will be equipped with Jnana and Vairagya to understand the absolute truth if you perform Bhakti under the guidance from the scriptures. For us here, the Bhakti literature, Bhakti Shastras. Now, Prabhupada is telling, absolute truth is realized in full by the process of devotional service to the Lord, Vasudeva, or the personality of Godhead, who is full-fledged absolute truth. Here, Vasudeva is something which is beyond the 3 modes. That's why Shuddham Vishuddham Vasudeva Sattva, which is beyond the modes. We are practicing bhakti, which is beyond. Brahman is he transcendental. Brahman is his transcendental bodily effulgence, and Paramatma is his partial representation. As such, Brahman or Paramatma realization of the absolute truth is but a partial realization. There are four different types of human beings: the karmis, the jnanis, the yogis, and the devotees. The karmis are materialistic, whereas the other three are transcendental. The first class transcendentalists are the devotees who have realized the Supreme Person. The second class transcendentalists are those who have partially realized the plenary portion of the Absolute Person. And the third class transcendentalists are those who have barely realized the spiritual focus of the Absolute Person. As stated in Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures, the Supreme Person is realized by devotional service, which is backed by full knowledge and detachment from material association. We have already discussed the point that devotional service is followed by knowledge and detachment from material association, as Brahman and Paramatma realization are imperfect realization of the absolute truth. So the means of realizing Brahman and Paramatma, that is the path of Jnana and Yoga, are also imperfect means of realizing the absolute truth. Devotional service, which is based on the foreground of full knowledge combined with detachment from material association, and which is fixed by the oral reception of the Vedanta Sutra, is the only perfect method by which the seriously inquisitive student can realize the absolute truth. Devotional service is not, therefore, meant for the less intelligent class of transcendentalist. There are three classes of devotees, namely first, second, and the third class. The third class devotees are the neophytes who have no knowledge and are not detached from material association, but who are simply attracted by the preliminary process of worshipping the deity in the temple are called material devotees. Material devotees are more attached to material benefits than transcendental profit. Therefore, one has to make definite progress from the position of material devotional service to the second class devotional position. In the second class position, devotees can see four principles in the devotional line, namely the personality of Godhead, his devotees, the ignorant, and the envious. One has to raise himself at least to the stage of second class devotee and thus become eligible to know the absolute truth. So, in this purport, Prabhupada is telling, he is continuing from the previous shloka also, that Tattva is understood in three levels. And it is understood as Paramatma and Bhagavan by Jnana and Yoga processes. Prabhupada is telling this understanding of absolute truth is imperfect. That's why the processes for knowing Jnana, for knowing Brahman and Paramatma, which is Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, are also imperfect. So the perfect understanding of absolute truth is Bhagavan, and the process is Bhakti. And in Bhakti, there are three levels: first class, second class, third class. In third class level, it's a material. They do Bhakti for material benefit, but at least we should write to the second class level where we can understand, we can distinguish personality of God, devotees, ignorant and envious people. In that way, we become eligible to know what is the absolute truth. At least we are giving understanding of absolute truth. Now we all understand absolute truth is Krishna, like that. The third class devotee therefore has to receive the instruction of devotional service from the authoritative sources of Bhagavad. The number one Bhagavata is established personality of devotee, or other Bhagavatam is the message of Godhead. The third class devotee therefore has to go to the personality of devotee in order to learn the instructions of devotional service. Such a personality of devotee is not a professional man who earns his livelihood by the business of Bhagavatam. Such a devotee must be representative of Sukadeva Goswami, like Sutta Goswami, and must preach the cult of devotional service for the all-round benefit of the people. A neophyte devotee has very little taste for hearing from the authorities. Such neophyte devotees make a show of hearing from the professional men to satisfy his senses. This sort of hearing and chanting has spoiled the whole thing, so one should be very careful about the faulty processes. The holy name of the Godhead as inculcated in Bhagavad Gita, holy message of Godhead as inculcated in Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam are undoubtedly transcendental subjects, but even though they are so, such transcendental matters are not to be received from the professional man who spoils them as the serpent spoils milk simply by the touch of his tongue. So this paragraph, Prabhupada is telling, okay, if you are in third class level, just go to a pure devotee. Don't go to a professional and hear. There are so many professional reciters who can entertain us with nice stories, with some other very interesting explanations, but that does not going to help any of us. Any professional singers, professional reciters. If people are taking money for speaking, people are taking money for singing kirtans, it is not going to change anybody's heart. That's what Prabhupada is telling. It is simply spoils like a milk simply touched by tongue. Of course, some may be devotees who are singing, but it is not going to change because their motivation of singing is not to please the Lord. Their motivation of singing is the pleasure of the audience, so that they'll get the remuneration. That's why it is not going to change anything. If they do it for the pleasure of Lord, without any other motivations, okay, Lord should be pleased. I don't need anything from it. Then it will have a change in the heart like that. A sincere devotee must therefore be prepared to hear the Vedic literature like the Upanishads, Vedanta, other literature left of the previous authorities or Goswamis for the benefit of his progress. Without hearing such literatures, one cannot make actual progress. See, very clearly, we have to read from the literatures of Goswamis. That's why we are doing Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary. Because without hearing such literatures, one cannot make actual progress. And without hearing and following the instructions, the show of devotional service becomes worthless and therefore a sort of disturbance in pure devotional service. This is another problem. People, if they don't hear from acharyas properly, what they do, whatever they are practicing, they will not practice properly and they cause disturbance also. Unless, therefore, devotional service is established on the principles of Shruti, Smriti, Purana or Pancharatra authorities, the main show of devotional service should at once be rejected. An unauthorized devotee should never be recognized as a pure devotee. By assimilation of such message from the Vedic literatures, one can see the all-pervading localized aspect of the personality of Godhead within his own self and within oneself constantly. This is called samadhi. If we are not reading, then we'll not do properly. We'll miss the point. We may practice wrongly. So the three reasons why we were discussing last time also, why devotees leave or they don't get much result is because of wrong practices, because of wrong motivations, and because of offenses. And all three things happen if you don't read properly, if you don't hear properly from right source. If people are lazy in understanding Shastra, that means his Shraddha is very laukika. We need to have Shastra Shraddha. We need to put an effort, work hard in understanding Shastra, then only we'll make a tangible progress like that. So we will just okay. And now this is the conclusion. He's telling, okay, sorry, not this next one. So now what we should do? Okay, by bhakti we can realize absolute truth. That this is another. This is the conclusion also in one way. Two conclusions. Atah pumbit vijashreshta varnashram vibhagasha swanishthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshnam. O best of the thrice born, it is therefore concluded by the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and order of life is to please the personality of God. So we have discussed dharma is not for sense gratification, dharma is for apavarga, dharma is get the taste in hearing the holy name, the message of Godhead, and it is meant to understand the tattva, that is the purpose of human life. And the tattva is in three aspects, and tattva is understood by bhakti. Even if you are doing your varnashram duties also, the conclusion that the highest perfection we can achieve by your varna and ashrama duties is what? To please the personality of God. Samsiddhir Hari Toshanam. So this is the point. So this is the understanding of any occupational duties. Savai pumsam paro dharma. This is the highest dharma. All other things are Shramayeva hi kevalam. That's what, because this gives actually real satisfaction to the heart, to the soul. All other thing, before coming to bhakti, before understanding this, people may think I need washing machine, I need wife, I need house, I need car to satisfy. No, no, no. You need only bhakti. All other things we don't need only. So that is our end. That is what Bhagavatam is telling. And human society all over world is divided into 4 castes and 4 orders of life. The 4 castes are intelligent caste, the martial caste, the productive caste, and the labor caste. These castes are classified in terms of one's work and qualification and not by birth. See, very clear, it's not by birth, it's qualities. Then again, there are 4 orders of life, namely the student life, the householder's life, the retired, and the devotional life. In the best interest of human society, there must be such divisions of life. Otherwise, no social institution can grow in a healthy state. And each and every one of the above mentioned division of life, aim must be to please the supreme authority of the personality of God. This institutional function of human society is known as the system of Varnashram Dharma, which is quite natural for the civilized life. The Varnashrama institution is constructed to enable one to realize the absolute truth. It is not for artificial domination of one division over another. When the aim of life, that is, realization of the absolute truth, is missed by too much attachment for Indriya Priti or sense gratification, as already discussed here before, the institution of Varnashrama is utilized by selfish men to pose an artificial predominance over the weaker section. In Kali Yuga or in the age of quarrel, this artificial predominance is already current. But the saner section of the people know it well that the division of caste and order of life are meant for smooth social intercourse and high thinking, self-realization, and not for any other purpose. This is what is purpose of Varnashrama, is to help. People need some regulation, otherwise they will just go. So Varnashrama gives a ego. We are telling us the sanskaras. Generally what happens is, so many impressions that are formed in all through many lifetimes, they are all stored in sanskaras. And samskaras, some part of sanskaras, they are given in this life in terms of vasanas. This is decided by adrishta, and what comes to us is called prarabdha. And these vasanas are our tendencies, inclinations, and that decides what should be varna and ashrama for us. Tendencies and inclinations, that decides our varna. And based on the tendencies and inclinations, we perform a particular activity which are prescribed in the Shastras. And eventually, they will guide a person, it will regulate a person and eventually guide a person to Swanishthitasya Dharmasya Samsiddhir Haritoshna, to achieve the highest perfection, to please the Lord. Herein, the statement of Bhagavatam is that the highest aim of life or the highest perfection of institution of Varnashram Dharma is to cooperate jointly for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord. That means in the house also we should do the same thing. We should all work together to please the Lord. Everybody accept that, okay, Krishna is the master of my house and we all will work for the pleasure of this person. Who is the person? Krishna. And whose desire should be fulfilled in the house? It is Krishna's desire. Samsiddhir Haritoshna. If Krishna will be happy if we do this in the house, we should do it. If Krishna will be happy if we cooperate, we'll cooperate. If Krishna will be happy if we fight, we'll fight. So whatever is needed to please Krishna, that is the purpose of life. So this is now the conclusion of this section, conclusion of 6th and 7th verses. He has made the thesis and now he made all the shlokas. Now he's firmly telling, okay, this is the conclusion. Tasmat ekena manasa bhagavan satvatam pati shrotavyah kirtavyascha dheya pujasya nityada. Tasmat, therefore, ekena manasa, with one pointed attention, Bhagavan Satvatam Patihi. Who is Bhagavan? Is Satvatam Pati, is the master of all the devotees. We should please him. We should worship him. How? Shrotavya Kirtitavyasya Dheya Pujasya Nityada. So therefore, with one pointed attention, One should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of devotees. Purport. If realization of absolute truth is the ultimate aim of life, which we have discussed, which is established in the few shlokas before, it must be carried out by all means. Why should we waste our time? If I know my purpose of life is to understand the absolute truth, why should I waste my time in all other things? All my intelligence, with all my focus, all my mind should be for that only. In any one of the above mentioned as an order of life, the four progressive, namely glorifying, hearing, four processes, namely glorifying, hearing, remembering, and worshipping, are general occupations. Without these principles of life, no one can exist. So, uh, this, these things are anyway done by people. But activities of living entities involve engagement in four different principles of life. Especially in modern society, all activities are more or less dependent on hearing and glorifying. We hear and we glorify all the social media. They like, and dislike, glorifying and hearing. Any man from any social status becomes a well-known man in human society within a few short time. He simply glorifies truly or falsely in daily newspapers. The short time has reduced more sharper. By social media, you can become more famous. In overnight, people become famous. A few hours. Sometimes political leaders of a particular party are also advertised by newspaper propaganda, and by such a method of glorification, an insignificant man becomes an important man within no time. But such propaganda by false glorification of an unqualified person cannot bring about any good either for the particular man or for the society. There may be some temporary reactions to such propaganda, but there are no permanent effects. Therefore, such activities are a waste of time. The actual object of glorification is the personality of Godhead, Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created everything manifested before us. We have broadly discussed this fact in our comment on the Janmadhyasya 1.1 shloka at the beginning of the Bhagavad. The tendency to glorify others or hear others must be turned to the real object of glorification, the Supreme Being, and that will bring happiness. This is what Prabhupada is telling. So this is the conclusion of this is establishing the sixth and seventh shlokas what Sukadeva Goswami is saying. Any discussions on this till now? People are convinced of what Sukadeva Goswami is establishing. Any objections? Anybody want to take any objections on this? Okay, no objections. Everybody's agreeing. Yes, Kilmata, you had some objection.
A lot of objections. Okay, so um, we don't need to, if we are engaging in devotional service, jnana comes automatically. We don't need to cultivate knowledge separately. So this studying of the Bhagavatam that we're doing, is it not jnana?
This jnana is bhakti yukta jnana. So this knowledge is allowed. That's why when we have this shloka definition of pure devotional service, anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulen Krishna. So is jnana karmadi. It is not that uh, we are rejecting something here. Jnana is not referring to the jnana of the impersonalist or jnana to speculate. This jnana, we can have jnana, but that jnana is bhakti yukta jnana, which helps us to become closer. And this jnana is needed for to some level only. Once a person comes to a state of ruchi, asakti and bhava, he will not need this jnana also. He is already spontaneously attracted to Krishna. But initially, to get that attachment to Krishna, we need to hear his glories and all. Once we get attracted to Krishna, in the spiritual world, they don't need any motivation to get attracted. They are already attracted to Krishna. They spontaneously serve him.
So when we say no need to cultivate jnana separately, right?
No.
Separately, for example, the jnanis, their study is considered separate study because they're cultivating knowledge not for the purpose of developing bhakti. That's why it's called separate.
What they do,
They're-
their way of cultivating knowledge is they want to understand uh, uh, they want to understand the truth of this world by negation process. This is not true, this is not true, this is not true. So their jnana is trying to analyze the difference between matter and spirit. Their knowledge, their jnana is understanding the 24 elements and how it works. So their way of jnana is completely nothing to do with devotion. For us, we want to know about Krishna, we want to know about devotional process. That is only our jnana. We don't need more than this.
okay, so let me just write that.
Yeah, it is not jnana
They're
shunya. Yeah. It is
yeah,
jnana.
Gyanis, they're they cultivate knowledge not for the sake of devotion.
They want to,
And
for them it is a distinction between matter and spirit. Their way of jnana is like that.
okay. Wait, hold on. Matter and spirit, yeah.
Their way of understanding jnana is everything is nasty in this material world.
Everything is what?
Everything is nasty, everything is meaningless. And get
Oh,
rid of
nasty.
everything,
Yeah.
get rid of the slavery. So this type of knowledge.
Okay. Also, Upavarga, I know you've mentioned this several times already, but Upavarga is what we, I know there's attachment. You do something for result that requires that leads to attachment.
This is
And
Pavarga is pa pa bha bha ma in Hindi, in Sanskrit alphabets. Based on the pronunciation is based on the location of from where the word comes. So pa pa this is pa 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 bha bha ma. It all comes from this part. So the first one is pa is parishram. You work hard, then you get the result. Uh, Phala, you get the result when you act, and because you get the result, you become attached to it. That is bandhan. Then there is because you are attached, then you are fearful. There is bhaya, and then ma is then there is death.
yeah, so
This is
devotional
pavarga.
service
So life is
is,
not for pavarga. You have to get out of this pavarga.
yeah, so that's called Upavarga. Right?
Apavarga.
Up,
Opposite to it is apavarga.
yeah, which is synonymous with devotional service, no?
Yeah.
Or devotional services for Upavarga.
Yeah.
Okay, just one last thing is because the knower and the known question we should not be discussing now, right? You said? Or,
Yeah, we'll discuss. May not today. Today we'll end at 9:15 on time. Because tomorrow we will do it. We will discuss on it. I also need
okay,
some clarification. Yeah.
just one last thing, which I know is a sensitive subject, but is it? And I know I've heard you speak a little bit on this before too, but cannot a person perform kirtan with, and accept money for it, but with the intention of using that money to further Lord Chaitanya's mission through
Yeah,
that kirtan?
bhakti is all based on motivation, Mataji. If you have a right motivation, then you will have the effect. It is based on motivation. If we are asking some help for the service of the deities, and we go and chant for the pleasure of Lord, and we ask, okay, Lord will be pleased, and then will not have. It is all motivation. If motivation is for the pleasure of Lord in any way, then you will get benefit.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Now he will not get the benefit of kirtan. He may get the benefit of that money which he got in the service of the Lord. Because he is engaging that money in the service of Lord. Now, so he'll get the benefit of engaging that in the service of Lord. Because this kirtan is motivated to please that person and to get that money and to do some other service. He'll get the benefit of that service.
No, but if his motivation is, sincere, furthering Lord
Then no
Chaitanya's
problem.
mission.
Because if it is an offense, if you sing for money, it's an offense.
Yeah, if you're singing for money for the sake of your own sense gratification, that's an
It's an
offense.
offense. Hmm.
But if you're singing, using the money to even if you need to use some of that money for your own maintenance, because if you don't maintain yourself, you cannot also do kirtan, right? But if the idea is that
No. We have to do kirtan for the pleasure of Lord, and Lord will maintain. He will send the money whatever we need. We need to have faith. We should not ask money.
so now I feel like I heard opposite things. I don't know.
No, we need to have faith that Lord will maintain, and we just have to chant for the pleasure of Lord. We should, even if we are taking money for maintenance, we should not ask how much we need. Whatever they give, we can take.
Mm.
But it is Bhaktivinoda Thakur very clearly telling, you can have any other job. Now there are so many jobs available in the market. You do that job, get your money, and chant for the pleasure of Lord. Why you need to use the holy name to maintain yourself? Lord will maintain anyway. You can do any other job. If you are not, you need some maintenance for yourself. You can work 4-5 hours in some place, get some money, maintain yourself, and peacefully chant the holy name. Why you need to chant, go some place, chant, and get money for that?
Mm.
If you need maintenance, I need food to maintain. Okay, do some other job. God will provide you another job. But don't use kirtan for making. That I don't agree, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling, not my words also.
Mhm.
The authority.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Jnana Kanda and Jnana Yoga same. Thank you very much. So, thank you very much. We will continue our discussion tomorrow. Purports. And I have made the Shloka group. Please join. We will post in it. We'll start from Friday. I will see how, because I didn't expect it. It's almost like almost 50-60 people joined. So we had to see how we can do that. So we'll be able to do it. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki.